I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
No. We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
He's from Iowa, Louisiana, not Iowa. Iowa.
And welcome. That was Coach Fritz talking about Ryan. Ryan is not here. We are transitioning into the summer mayhem. So we're going to get things started here tonight with something a little bit different. We're going to talk some football recruiting. We're going to talk a little bit about the portal, maybe a whole lot about the portal for basketball. Got a lot of stuff coming up. Want to give a shout out quick off the top to our sponsor, Star Pizza. Look, man, I know everybody had some delicious, Easter celebrations today. Star Pizza this week. You got to make up for it. Carb up for the summer. Let's get it going. We also got Section 12X coming back for the summer. You know who we're talking about. Guess what? 1 year. 1 year celebration. Go to Section 12X. Put in the code year one. Year one at checkout for 10% off. Celebrate those guys. We'll get into a little bit more going with what we've got going with them. But let's not waste any time. Let's bring on our guest, Braden Baker. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations on your commitment, and we appreciate you joining us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Martin, what you got? The leader of Recruiting Plus over here.
Yeah, so again, thanks for joining us, Braden. I know it's been a busy time. Appreciate you coming in on Easter. But the rest of the guys in the recruiting class, things were a little bit more quick as far as like offer to commitment. But if I have it right, the staff offered you back in May of 2024.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, sir.
And who was it that offered you?
Coach Bell, Sean Bell.
Okay. And is that who's led your recruiting to this point?
Yep, most definitely.
Okay. Anybody I talked to that's being recruited that has committed has said the difference with U of H, their superpower, if anything, is the relationships. The coaches have done a good job of cultivating that. So, talk me through, I guess, what is communication like on a weekly basis since offering to now?
Yeah, it's definitely heated up since, after this football season ended. But, Coach Bell's just been hitting me up. I mean, it's been since probably the last month or two. It's been almost every day. He calls me probably 2 times a week now. And, he feels like one of my friends almost now. And it's that close of a relationship I have with him. He's been right there for almost basically 2 years now. And, that's really the biggest thing for me in my recruitment process, just that relationship part.
And so this past season was your first year as a starter. Is that correct?
Yeah. My sophomore year, I split time, but I did start a few games, but just not the full-time starter my sophomore year.
And so they offered you as a sophomore, correct?
The summer going into my sophomore year.
And so I guess what are you hearing from them, as you're splitting time as a sophomore versus you starting as a junior? Like, did things change? Did you hear from him more often?
I mean, not really. I think he really he saw me when I went up to camp that summer. It heats up after your junior year, but you know, it really didn't seem like much of a difference the way he was talking to me. I think he always saw my potential, even though I wasn't even a full-time starter.
Yeah, the staff is pretty good about when they see something in somebody, they kind of latch on and they do their best to bring you in. So obviously, coaches' relationships, how well they communicate. But if you could pinpoint one thing, maybe one moment that like really pushed Houston over the top, like what would that be for you?
I think it's just the way he kind of just doesn't. He's kind of more of like he doesn't make things awkward. Like he's kind of connects to you and the way you do things. He doesn't make it awkward. He's kind of just like one of your friends. You could open up to him. I just feel like every time I went up there, he came down to school. He's visited my school a bunch, and it's just like I could honestly like be honest with him. In my recruitment process, like there was no like having to lie about things. I feel like I could open up to him and just be truthful with him.
And so the recent success of the team, first year in the Fritz era, they won 4 games, and this past year they had a great year, won 10 games, beat LSU in the bowl game.
Yep.
And then you see a local guy like Connor Wigman leading the charge. They signed Keyshawn, another local kid, Keyshawn Henderson, recently. Does that matter to you at all? Is that important, seeing guys from your area, being the quarterback at Houston? Does that matter?
I mean, yeah, I like that. They care about the kids from, they say the best in the city stay in the city. I feel like that's a big deal, and they got Connor the past year, then they signed Keyshawn. I think they're getting some really good quarterbacks, and I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, you can drop the humility for a second and include yourself in the really good quarterbacks they're getting. It's okay. And so, you've seen the offense develop over 2 years. Slade Nagel is here. This is going to be their second year. So you have an idea of what offense you're potentially going to be playing in. Mm-hmm. Maybe how do you see yourself fitting into it? What it is about your game that is going to boost the offense potentially down the line? Like, how do things fit?
Yeah, I feel like I'm not labeled as a dual threat, but, I feel like I can use my legs whenever needed. And, Connor uses his legs a lot, and I feel like I can do the same, extending plays, rolling out of the pocket, just doing whatever I needed to be. And I feel like that's what I can do for that offense and, be that guy.
I know what I think watching your game really stands out. Your deep ball is great. You throw it with a lot of touch. You give your guys a chance, it's a good catchable ball. You can really push it down the field. But if you had to point to one ability, one characteristic of your game that you think is the best or you take the most pride in, what would that be?
I probably agree with you. I think my deep ball, we throw in my offense right now. It's a lot of deep balls, post and go routes. I feel like I put it where it needs to be all the time. If it's over the top or back shoulder, I feel like that's my strongest suit in that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I see a lot of the same things in a sense that, I'm not going to be boring and just say there's good one-to-one comparison with you and Connor, but I agree that maybe your athletic ability is a little not underutilized, but maybe underrated. I thought Connor coming into Houston, I wrote about when he signed to transfer, that maybe there was some more meat on the bone there for him to run the ball and be utilized. And I think he ran for over 900 yards this past season. So I guess Slade Nagel and the coaches saw it too. So, that's great. And I think watching you throw on the run, going to your left, wrong direction, you kind of like will drop your arm angle a little bit. Is there a baseball background there?
Yeah, I did play baseball all the way up until my freshman year. So that's probably where I get it from.
Okay. On that note, Jayme had a question he wanted to ask about that.
What's up, Braden?
What's up?
So I'm more of a basketball guy. I do love the football as well. but I was wondering, just growing up and even now, are you a multi-sport guy, or are you just sticking with the football?
So I said I played baseball until my freshman year, and then I played basketball. I didn't play this year. I played all the way to my sophomore year, played through my sophomore year, and then I am running track right now as well. So yeah, I'm a multi-sport athlete.
Nice, perfect. So basketball, you a shooter? Are you more in the post, 6'5"? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I was more on the post. I mean, I would say my freshman year, I was allowed to shoot, and then I got up to the varsity level, and they kind of put me more on the post. So yeah.
nice. Baseball, shortstop, pitcher, just pitcher.
Shortstop, and then later in my years, probably like 8th grade, I pitched all the time, and then I was a first baseman as well.
Nice.
See, they always do that to us tall guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
always find a way to get to first.
Yep.
Good deal.
Sir.
So, my day job, I do some scouting with Catapult Sports, and I went through and watched your team, and the talent level is pretty incredible. Obviously, you guys had a good year last year. You made a run in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You won district, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the talent is returning. And so I'm not going to ask for any guarantees or put any pressure on you, but how are you guys feeling about a potential state run?
I feel like we got it. I mean, we're really deep in I would say every position. I think we got to find a few linebackers, but we got a deep secondary. Receivers are coming back. We got a running back that's a stud. I think we got the pieces to go really far this year.
Yeah. I know Christian White is a 2029. I believe U of H has already offered, and I think he's not even necessarily a starting running back. So, I know you guys have a lot of talent there. And, of course, Armani is protecting your blind side. So I'm sure that helps out a lot.
Yes, sir.
Who on your current team, on the high school team, who's your guy? Who's your go-to? Who makes you feel comfortable when you need a first down or a big play?
I would say Manny Leha, my receiver. He played slot last year. Yeah, he's real good. Tall guy, strong, physical, and he can create separation. That's my guy to go to.
Okay, Brad, did you have anything?
Yes, I do. So now that the commitment has happened, is it a relief for you? Was there a lot of pressure coming into the decision?
Yeah, it's definitely relief that I made my decision now, because it really heated up after January, and then it got really, really stressful, about probably like 3 weeks ago, because I had dudes committing to all my other schools too. It was a stressful time, but I'm definitely relieved now that I made my decision. I'm really happy with it.
Nice. So what does a summer look like for someone in your position? That now that you got the commitment off the table, of course, everybody's still going to recruit you. We know that. But what does the summer look like for a guy in your position?
Yeah. I'll go. I mean, I did cancel my OVs to everywhere else that I had planned. So it's just U of H right now. And then, big part of the summer is just I work out with my team, 4 days a week in the summer. And then I'll have 1 to 2 times a week I'll go work out with my quarterback trainer, JP Tillman. And that's I'll probably go to my regular gym just to hit the other workouts, just speed and whatever. And that's what I'm planning on doing this summer.
Excellent. So instead of having to do like the camp circuit, now you get to focus directly on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I don't as of right now, I don't plan on going in any camps. If Coach Bell wants me at U of H's camp, I'll definitely be there. But as of right now, I don't really plan on going anywhere else.
Awesome. Back to you, Martin. I had another one that I forgot to write down, but it slipped my head.
Okay.
It'll come back.
No problem. So what's the high school schedule like? I know you guys have spring ball coming up. You'll have practices, and coaches will be doing their visits and stuff like that. But in the summer, I know UIL only allows you guys to do so much with your school. But what's planned with your school and Coach Blaylock? Like what's that looking like between now and August?
we're actually not doing spring ball this year, but that's because we'll get 2 scrimmages in the fall, and we'll start practice I think a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier than everyone else, and then so we'll start doing school 7-on-7. We'll have two Friday night games at like 2 games a night. That's like one in April and one in May. And then if we win those, we'll make it a state in College Station. We'll play in that. And then we're going to SMU to play in that SMU tournament. And I think it's June 12th that weekend. So we'll be playing 7-on-7 with the school, just working those connections with my receivers and going through all that.
And so, a lot of Houston area commits, 5 of the 6 so far.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Braden Cook and Kale Thickman a little bit about, they were competing together at the rivals camp. So they kind of talked a little bit about, hey, maybe we'll go to Houston together, that kind of stuff. Are these conversations you've had with like Mo Poco, for example, Braylon Lane? Like, had you guys discussed this, or is it all just coming together?
It's really just coming together. When I committed, I got added to this group chat with all of them. So, we're talking almost every day, just trying to build a relationship with all of them.
All right. I will say about your linebackers, Tyrell Toney is doing his best. I grew up with his dad, so
yeah,
I'll have his back here and say he's
yeah.
I'm sure he's doing his best to help with the defense.
No, yeah, he's definitely he's a dog. I would like him at the position, but yeah, we just probably got to find a few more. But he's a good player. So,
and on that note, I saw something about your coach said, speaking to somebody else, about your leadership. You're not. I know this now, and trying to text you and not talking to you in person a little bit. You don't waste words. You say what you have to say, and then you move forward. So what's that like? I'm sure you can handle the leadership. Being a quarterback, it's just kind of part of the job. But not being a super boisterous guy or rah-rah, as I saw your coach said. What's that like? What's your style of leadership?
I just think it's just, for me, it's just getting my guys in the right spot. Having them, staying them, keeping them locked in. I think that's just what I need to do. I think I definitely need to step it up a little bit in that, and being a vocal leader. I think I show myself as a leader. I just need to step it up in the vocal part. But I think that's my way of doing things. But I definitely need to step it up in the vocal part. But that's my goal, and I'll definitely get that this upcoming season. I'm just working on it in the off season, building my team up.
And so you're comfortable going to a position group and saying, "Hey, everybody else is getting it done, but y'all gotta step it up."
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's good.
I remember what I was going to ask. I remember what I was going to ask. Yep, okay. I got it. I actually wrote it down. Okay, so we understand the strengths. What's the weakness? What's the thing that you're going to be working on the most that you need to improve on for success today and for the future?
I think it's probably, I think rolling out, probably throwing in my weak side, and then probably just my lateral movement. I think I've got a lot of feedback from, talking with my agent, and they're talking to the schools that are recruiting me. I think they said that's my weakness, just getting my lateral quickness, my lateral movement up just faster. I think that's what I need to improve on, just working that.
Awesome. Are there any recruiting events that you guys are going to be getting together and start bringing in some receivers for you and offensive linemen too?
I don't really have anything planned yet, but I'll try to work something out. I'll try to get know where to go, but not right now.
Sweet. Okay. Any other questions?
So when you say your agent is helping with your lateral agility, or mentioning it, is that TJ Randall in your ear?
Yeah. My actual agent is Miles Jordan, but I work with TJ. He's a great guy.
All right,
it's so weird to hear agent.
Yeah,
I know, dude.
It's just that I mean, hey, it's part of the game, dude. It's just the evolution of it. It's just so strange to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool,
You get in
man.
trouble for that not too
Y'all,
long ago.
y'all got anything else? No. Well, cool,
No,
man. I
I mean,
appreciate you taking the time. We're looking forward to it. I wish you all the best this summer and in the upcoming season. But man, again, happy Easter and thanks
Yes,
for coming
sir.
by.
Happy Easter to y'all too. Appreciate y'all having me out.
All right, man. Take care.
Man, congrats.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Braden Baker, everybody. Really nice to hear from, man. It's you gotta love what we're doing with our football recruiting, man. It's coming along, coming off a really good class last year. We thought, okay, let's temper our enthusiasm and see what happens in the portal. And then boom, portal, great. Another great class. And then here we are, beginning of April, and football's going gangbusters again. And you couldn't get it better than started off with a big defensive lineman and then a big quarterback coming in. I mean, give me that big left tackle. We're golden, baby.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned they want to hear about Braden Cook, and sure, I'll talk about Braden Cook until they tell me to be quiet. So again, my day job is to scour these high schools and the huddles and find kids worth putting in the system and catapult sports so that the schools we work with, can reach out to the kids whenever, they need to do that. And I'd noticed Braden, I'm not going to act like I was the first one or anything. He'd had a couple of offers when I stumbled across him at Barber's Hill when I was going through their roster. And it's like, there's something here, he looks good, big kid. Most of what I'd seen was his D-line stuff. And he caught a couple of passes that, they had him playing tight end. And then he committed after he got the offer. A couple of weeks, it was another quick turnaround. They did a great job of locking him in. And I was curious what he was going to play because he was tagging the offensive line coaches in his commitment. And speaking to some of the people in the building, it seems like that's what the plan was. And it might still be. I'm not there. But then I watched him at the Rivals camp and he won the MVP of all the D-line guys. And, there's top talent there. He's not just going against guys that get to show up. They invite these kids. Braden showed up on Saturday in what they called the combine to compete. And he did well enough that they invited him the next day. And so all the kids that got to skip that and were just invited, he was the best of them. That included some, O-line targets like Hudson White. Hudson, I think is white. And I'm probably forgetting how to say his last name or what it is, but sorry about that. But, there's good players there, and he was the best at D-line. And maybe there's some murmurs of him being able to do some, not necessarily be Orlando Pace, but for those that remember, at Ohio State, he played both sides. He played, obviously, left tackle. He was a Hall of Fame left tackle when he played D-line. And talking to Kale, I believe Braden put on 40 pounds in the past year. And he looks like he's got way more room to grow. So I see the vision with him playing tackle with how athletic he is, how long he is. I think he's 6'6", 270, maybe 280. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen him, so he's probably put some weight on because that's how these kids grow. But I was mentioning to Brad and Jayme beforehand, I've told some other people, I think regardless of how this class shakes out, in 2 or 3 seasons, we'll be saying that Braden Cook was the best player in this class. And if there's a better player in this class, then U of H is lucky to have that kid too, because that means he is also a very, very good football player.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, that 40 pounds is probably different than my 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Thank you, Star Pizza, for your delicious buffets on Tuesday and Fridays and your pasta specials every Thursday. We take advantage of it. I mean, when it comes to recruiting, dude, for football, maybe it's just because the bar was set so low. And it's not a one-person thing. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Tony Levine was a great coach, but he was a good recruiter. He was a good identifier of talent, guys who were going to grow into the position. And, that's pretty much, there's really not a lot of debate on that because his direct recruits put a lot in the NFL. But after years of just recruiting at the bottom, years of waiting for that quote unquote Big 12 bounce, and then all of a sudden not seeing it for 2 years, and then bam, we go from that ship has sailed to fucking 7 seas, baby, full bore. We got 100 cannons on this ship and firing at all cylinders. It's really weird to be in on the best. It's really weird to be getting commits from the best. It's weird to have everybody start recruiting your kids and they say, I'm committed. And then they sign. Holy shit. It's a bizarre world. Speaking of bizarre world, we got a special guest that just popped in. Y'all haven't seen this dude in a long ass time. Since he made the effort to get here, I got to bring him on here.
He's from Iowa, Louisiana, not Iowa. Iowa.
Mr. Roy Monslew.
Thank you.
From Iowa, Louisiana.
Iowa. Yeah. There was a kid at practice yesterday from Dry Prong, Louisiana. And if there's any kids tougher than Iowa kids, it's kids from Dry Prong. So Martin might have to do a spotlight on him, and I am blanking on the name.
That sounds like a fake school, but it is Louisiana.
It's a real ass place. Baytown Sterling coaches were there yesterday too. Gotta love Baytown Sterling being at practice. I've never seen that. So very excited for what they've got going. I am great. It has been a disappointing couple of days. With Indiana winning the national title in football and UCLA winning the national title in women's basketball today, and Michigan a 7-point favorite tomorrow, we might have to admit that the Big Ten is legit dominating everybody in every sport, and I hate it.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. UCLA's Big Ten now.
Yeah, they're right there. Jayme, I haven't heard you speak. Are you okay over there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Just hanging out.
Okay, just hanging out.
He's depressed. We've got too much news. We're not going to get to talk about lunar modules and.
He'll get there. You got 22 weeks.
I know. So what you got, man? You've been out at practice a lot.
Let's talk basketball real quick, and then we can pivot back to football.
Are you sure?
And Jayme's here.
It's all good. I like football talk. Okay. I did forget about the women's basketball game today. I had no idea that it was on. I'm watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and then I just checked my phone and saw UCLA won the national championship. And here we are.
Not a bad way to spend your afternoon, though.
No, it's a good day.
Did it end up a 50-point spread like it looked like it was headed?
Yeah, I think they won by 25. Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay.
Speaking of, man, God, I did not expect that beatdown last night in Michigan and Arizona.
No, they big boyed them for sure.
Let's see here. What do we got? Let me open up my stuff. What part of the portal do you want to talk about, Ryan?
Jayme, who do you have? If the guys that you know that are in the portal or heading that way, who is the one or two guys that U of H fans need to be locked on?
For me personally, it would be I think we need a scoring point guard. We need somebody like we had with Sasser a few years ago, somebody that can go get a bucket, can handle the ball, get it where it needs to be, but looking to score, looking to get in the paint, can shoot the three. Marcus Burton seems to be a name from Notre Dame that we're hearing a lot about. He's a 20-point.
I've
per
heard that
game guy.
name for
Yeah.
3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He can go get a bucket. I mean, he's 20 points per game. Has had a little bit of injury issues, only played 10 games this year. Actually saw him get hurt live last year in Vegas. They played the game after we did. I think they were playing Rutgers, if memory serves right, and he went down with a knee. He came back later in that year, finished the year out, but he's a small, really, really small guard. He's probably listed close to 5'10", but it doesn't matter. It's like Samp always says, he's been small his whole life, so it's not new for him. He's always known how to score and get buckets. So that would be the number one on my list to go get.
Do you think he fits in here?
I do. You hope that you are leading the way for Lil Skip, Reese Austin next year. So it's probably a 1-year rental, getting a senior guard. I don't know that he can get the medical red shirt playing 10 games, but at least you're getting a guy that can get you buckets for a year. And then Reese, I'm not going to say he's as good as Kingston, but they're similar. He's a guy that can be a day one starter for sure. So if you can, get somebody to hold that spot for him for a year, and then take over. But he would be my number one. And then, I've had the man crush on Keanu Doss for 3 years. Saw him when he played at Rice. That was before I was even working with you guys. I was putting the scouting reports on Twitter, and I remember putting on there, this kid's got potential. He didn't play a ton against us that first year when he was at Rice, but we've seen him just grow and grow. And every year I put, maybe next year. Well, I think this could finally be the year he comes home and finishes out with the Cougs. He reminds me of Fabian White. I think they're just eerily similar body types, can shoot, can play inside, can get to the basket, can do a little bit of everything. So Keanu Doss would be my second for sure.
Okay. How many guys from the portal do you realistically see coming in?
Yeah, I think it could be upwards of 5 to 6, maybe even 7. By the time they get to that 7, then they're probably going to be, just guys that can, help out in practice, get a few minutes here and there. But I think you'll spend pretty big money on your first 3 to 4 guys that are going to have to be impact players from day one. I mean, you just lose so much, especially if Sinak doesn't come back. I think Shirley Donovan always puts it, sometimes the best ones are the ones that you already have. And if you could get Sinak, that would be bigger than anything else that you could really do for the big guy spots. So that would be massive, but you got to think he's probably gone after he gets his feedback. Then you'd be looking, upwards of 6 to 7 guys.
Brad, will you take Burton off the screen or put your face entirely behind the Star Pizza logo? Either way.
So, Jayme,
you can Photoshop that on me.
Is it 6 or 7 transfers just by nature of everybody leaving?
Yeah. Yep. So, to begin with, I was thinking 4 to 5 more than likely. And then you lose Big Said and you lose Harwell. So that just opened up a couple of more spots. If this is probably Coach Sampson's last year, maybe they step up and spend, a ton and try to build something really big for that last year. And I could see that being a possibility as well.
What are your thoughts? Go ahead, Brad.
Says I think it's either NACOS or Tipton reporting our budget is $12 million or so. How do they come up with these numbers? The same way I come up with my true weight is 217 pounds, and I'm 2% body fat.
Verified.
Comes straight out of someone's ass. Nobody really truly knows.
Yeah.
But it benefits everybody to say they've got a massive budget. Because schools,
sure.
It'll show that they'll pay and players, and it really benefits agents. So those are the ones that are really going to be pushing that. Hey, I got my kid $7 million. If anybody believes that Yaxel turned down $7 million to go to Kentucky, but only took 2 from Michigan.
Yeah.
That's pretty kind, right? You gotta like a teammate like that. What are your thoughts, Jayme, Towns, Martin, on Said leaving?
I'm sad, but I'm happy for him. I think he's been here. He's actually been here for 4 years. Got a redshirt year,
Feels like
and
it.
then
Yeah.
on the roster for 3. Either he's graduated or put it right in the celebration phase. Go play for a year.
Yeah.
Go have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. Just always heard what a good teammate he was, how much he pushed the bigs in practice and, threw his weight around there, made them work and get prepared for the games. And then I thought the few times that he got in, he did a serviceable job. I mean, we saw what he did against Hunter Dickinson last year. Yeah, he was lost a little bit on offense, but who cares? Like,
But
I've
bullied
always said,
him.
yeah, he could go in and do his thing and do his job. And his job was just to bang people around. And he did it well, had some dunks here and there, and picked up some big fouls. I know Brad likes that.
Absolutely. He wasn't,
But, yeah.
and he wasn't doing it out there farting around the 3-point line.
Right. Yeah.
No.
So he was the ultimate team player, and now he's got a chance to probably go somewhere and get some time. We'd love to see him go with Qantas, and I went and watched them play live at Lamar this year, and he could absolutely step in immediately and get minutes there. So, yeah, I think that would be a great fit.
I think Louisiana is a perfect match, and hopefully that happens for Qantas and for Said. Always just a treat to deal with. Kind of funny, surprisingly. Like, where did that come from? But yeah, kind of. I'll never be mad at somebody that just wants to play. Yeah, I've been a teammate. I've done this, but at the end of the day, I want to look back and I got to play.
Yep.
I mean, he's got a Sweet 16, 2 Sweet 16s and a Final Four. So I mean, he's seen just about everything you could possibly see. Now it's that 1 year, go play.
Yep.
Let it rip.
So he's got 4, 5, 6, or 7 nets. I mean, okay.
Handful of rings.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I always thought it would have been interesting to see him at tight end, but I get it.
Martin, I've always thought this. What would you think if you had JoJo Tugler at defensive end with that wingspan?
It'd be ridiculous. I mean, his lateral movement is so good at his size. His wingspan, of course, length is so important. He plays like a maniac, so that would obviously translate well to football.
I think so too.
But he's got the frame. I'm sure he could put weight on. Let him rush the passer, even if just on third downs. I'm sure he'll cause a fumble or two.
Yeah, I've always thought he'd be a good defensive end or a middle. If he was to go play professional volleyball, he could play the middle blocker and just be unstoppable.
And you can't foul out in either of those sports. I think this means tall ball. Thoughts in moving more towards tall ball, given the structure many top tier teams this year. Jayme?
Yeah, I mean, the big man is going to be the most expensive thing in the portal this year. We've heard upwards of $5 million for Flory Badunga. they're saying realistically that's probably closer to $2.5 to $3 million. But yeah, if you want a big man, you better be willing to pay. Luckily, you already have one coming in. I think that he's going to be a project, but it's going to be one of those things that we're going to love watching develop over time. Hopefully the fans will give him a chance, November, December, and then hopefully by conference season, he'll be ready to go. But man, we have not had a center like him, period. Josh Carlton's probably the closest one, but this is legitimately Baby Shaq. I mean, 293 pounds, and you're not having to pay $5 million for him. You've already got him in place. We'll get to it here in a bit. There are some guys that kind of, I think, are going to be under the radar that, I have no idea if our coaching staff has a clue who they are. They're, coming from small schools, but I think that they fit what we're looking at, but we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, I think we'll probably look to get one more post player that's had some, experience. But yeah, I mean, you've already got Arafan and then JoJo more than likely coming back. So that's two pretty solid big guys.
Okay.
5'10" is in height would beat us against Illinois. No, absolutely abhorrent, pitiful, pathetic shooting is what killed you against Illinois. I don't care what size they are. We had the biggest team that we've had in forever, but we couldn't shoot. Not when it mattered.
Yep. This guy, I mean, if it's a Marcus Burton, if we get down the line to a PJ Haggerty, Pettiford, these smaller guards, those guys are top of the line point guards that have been doing this, for years now. So they're all able to get in the paint, score over bigs. Like I mentioned earlier, they've been doing this their whole life. It's not their first rodeo. So they're all guys that can get in the paint, can score that way. Burton at 5'10", I mean, we saw what he's done against us. He did it this year. He got in the paint. He struggled a little bit to start the game, but I think he ended up with close to 20 points, against our bigs. So,
Pettiford is the Auburn kid, right? He had the good game as a freshman in Toyota Center a couple years back.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really good. He's playing tonight. Looks like they're going to be NIT champs.
What happened that they moved the NIT championship to the Final Four city? Like, it was a big deal to go to MSG.
Yeah, huge deal. I think they just had some contract issues that MSG just didn't renew with them.
Marcus Burton played 40 minutes in that game in November against U of H. He was 6 of 14, 6 of 7 from the line, had 7 boards, 5 assists. I mean, okay. 7 boards and 5 assists from a 5'10" kid. All right. We can look at that. In hearing, it's down to U of H in Indiana.
Yep. I've heard that too. Looks like Indiana is by far the front runner for that other kid that I put on Twitter, Harrelson, the other day.
Okay.
I put that he can't shoot a lick. He doesn't try to. He was 5 of 25 from 3 this past year, and still averaged almost 20 points a game. So he had no problem getting his head down, getting to the rim. And people are like, well, we need shooters. Well, yeah, of course we need shooters, but we also need to get some free throw attempts. And that was my point of posting that kid was, I think we were in the kind of the high 300s in free throw attempts this past year. That was a huge deal as well, was that we just weren't getting to the basket enough. So, I'll take one of those guys. And that's what I was trying to put with that kid is we're not getting him. He is going to Indiana 99%, but we need somebody like him that can get to that free throw line a little bit more often.
exercise some patience, and the transfer portal will fill up with some elite players. I'm going to tell you, they know who's coming. There's no surprises at this point, or who's getting in the portal, not who's coming to U of H. These things have been negotiated from the player side for a while. No one's just waking up today and saying, "Oh, I'm going to go get in the portal." That's not happening. I've got FS1 on here. I thought West Virginia was playing now, but congrats to West Virginia for winning the college basketball crown. They won in overtime, I see now.
Yep. Honor Huff, former head of the Snake, had 38 points in that one. So, yeah, he went off. He's also about a 5'10" point guard.
5'11", yeah. Do you hang a banner for the crown?
I bet
West Virginia, probably.
Yeah, you might hang two.
I mean, if you don't hang it, then they're going to burn it. So if it's not off the ground, it's going to be caught on fire.
Jayme, you mentioned let me get to this. We need dribblers who like going to the rack. It's a lot to replace 3 strong guard starters, perhaps another consistent wing shooter to complement Chase.
Brad, do we have the graphic on Money Williams?
Oh boy.
Wrong one. No. There it is. There it is.
Yep. So if I could, that's another, we've talked about Burton. We talked about Keanu. This is a kid that he had 42 in their conference tournament against Colorado State. He had, as a true freshman, he made 9 free throws against Houston a few years ago. He is somebody that I would really, really like to see. He'll be a senior, but he can play outside, but he does a really good job, as you can see there, of getting to the paint. He's a 3-level scorer. He's a little chunky right now, kind of looks like E-Man when he first got here, but that's never stopped him. I mean, anybody that has 40 points in a game is a bucket, and he's been one his whole career at Montana. He's a California kid, so I don't know if he's going to look to go back home for his senior year. But I do think that he's somebody that will be a natural fit with us in a bucket that can get to the paint or shoot from outside as well.
Where would his 7 free throws a game rank nationally? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's
gotta be high, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's up there for sure.
Yeah, I believe it was 8 a game that led the nation, or 8.5.
Yeah,
so it's very high.
That would be double our highest.
And people want it. Yeah, absolutely.
You could take our guards and combine them all, and they didn't go to the line as much per game as we did, as that guy did.
And people want to say, he's doing it against Colorado State and against Idaho. Idaho is actually who knocked them out of their conference tournament. But, I mean, he did it against Houston, a really, really good Houston team, as a true freshman. I mean, if you're shooting 9 free throws against us, then, you're doing a good job. So,
and it's so difficult to tell because you don't know which lower guy is going to step up and blow up. I mean, who thought Bennett Sturtz would be a superstar at Iowa? Walter Clayton Jr. He was a MEAC kid.
Yeah, for sure. One kid that I had a couple of years ago on my list, just like this, and I told Ryan this when we saw him in Oklahoma City a couple of weeks ago, was Rashawn Agee when he was at Bowling Green. I was like, I had that kid listed as somebody that I could see being the next Reggie Chaney / J1 Roberts. He just had that body type, but he could score, he could shoot a little bit, and then he went to USC for a year, and then he ended up at Texas A&M. But that's the kind of guys that I'm kind of looking at that are under the radar a little bit that, I think could be fits here as well.
Okay, I'm going to go through some quick ones. Any word on Sinak possibly coming back? This would shock me completely if his draft grade was bad enough to fall either out of the first round or out of a spot where he's comfortable. Now, the class next year is much worse, right?
Yeah.
So there could be a benefit to that, but I just don't think you can turn down that bird in the hand. Jayme?
Yeah, I mean, I could see him being a lottery guy. I could see him going late first round. So, if he's in that 20 to 28 range, weirder things have happened with, especially with NIL today. He could come back and try to get that up to a top 5 pick, and I think he legitimately could be a top 5 pick next year.
Mhm.
But if he can sneak into that lottery or the 14 to 20, then maybe it's just too good. You got to go. But we have seen, him and his father say that they were going to kind of explore things for the next couple of weeks, and then they'd let us know. But yeah, I mean, I
Which
think
is
if
what everybody in the country is going to do. You go,
Yeah, and they
you
should.
go test every, yeah. So, so when are we adding UConn? No. No.
To the conference?
Yes.
No, I don't think you can do that.
You can't take their football, and basketball, as much as it works in the Big 12, it's just not on that level. You just can't take a school for basketball only, especially after they've done it with U of H. I do not know this guy, Jayme. I don't even want to try the name.
Diabate, yeah, played at Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, played at
Oh,
Alabama.
yeah.
Yeah, we played him last year.
Yeah.
Out in Vegas, and then
Vegas.
he's at Kentucky now. I didn't really keep up with him much, but yeah, I mean, he's a hard worker. Does a lot of the dirty work that kind of fits in with U of H culture. So,
I mean,
yeah,
if we're thinking about guys who are not in there, I have my favorites of. I mean, it begins and ends with Diop.
Yeah, 100%. I think he will be in. He's going to be extreme. Yeah, me too, Connor. Yeah, he's going to be.
As much as I love
coveted.
Badunga,
I think he's probably over Badunga. I think he probably gets paid more
Yes.
because I mean he's a true freshman this year,
Mhm.
and he can do more. I mean, Badunga's 2 feet from the basket, but he's obviously a defensive nightmare. But yeah, Diop, I would take Mustafa Thiam from Cincinnati. I think he probably explores his options again with another coaching change. So we'll see. I mean, there's some really, really good bigs. Brad and I have talked a lot about Brandon Garrison, who, I think he explored U of H before he ended up going to Kentucky when he left Oklahoma State. As far as I know, I think Coach Mike is what I'm going to call him because I can never say his name, but Coach Mike, when I think he had him at Oklahoma State. Yeah, he had him at Oklahoma State, so maybe there's a little connection there. But yeah, I mean, the good news is there's going to be a lot of bigs in the portal, so we should be able to grab a good one for sure.
Has Kelvin expressed any interest in getting some bitches from Europe? There's no way to know this. Maybe not. There's just no way to know what their interest is.
That in college basketball, and it's not just U of H fans, it's literally every fan base. It's that if a couple of teams have success in 1 year, everybody wants to copy it, and they should throw everything out that they've done well and go do that. I mean, there for a while, everybody wanted to be. You got to be like Bama. You got to go 5 wide and just slash and dunk. That's it. Then it was you gotta go and foul like Houston does. Now it's go get a bunch of big giant bitches. 22-year-old freshmen are always good, especially after they played pro for 4 years. Here's the thing: we're not gonna change a whole lot. There's going to be some tweaks. I think you can kind of read the tea leaves and see a little bit of a direction that we're going to go in, because you don't recruit the number one center in the country to not utilize him.
Yep.
And he's not Sinak.
No, he's not. Not even close.
Sinak has always played as like a big three.
Yeah.
He spent his whole career playing like a big three.
Yep.
Is Mercy leaving? No.
Don't think so.
You don't work in this program for several years to leave right when it's your turn. I mean, if he were a kid that needed big money, maybe there's a chance, but they're doing okay. They're doing okay. And I don't see, I mean, maybe, I guess anything is possible, but I would be shocked if he left.
And for fans, or the complaints about shooting, by nature of him returning and potentially being the starter, shooting would get better.
Yeah.
Or
We'd certainly get more chances. And most guys think more chances equal more makes.
Mm-hmm. I think the fact that you see Harwell leave tells you that Mercy's probably coming back, because he's the number one on the board at your two guard.
Yep.
Tankathon has Snack going 20 to the spread. I don't know who that person is. I don't understand the whole NBA draft culture. There's a whole world there that I don't know.
They got a million dudes who spam draft lists all year long. It goes everywhere.
Tankathon is just a Twitter page or site, like a profile, and they just track the drafts.
And going back to something earlier, AJ DeMonsta led the country in free throws a game, 8.5. So,
yep,
that's a freak, and he was at 7. So, I've heard we offered a bag to Sinak to come back. Obviously, well, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a hey, here's what you're going to get if you come back.
Yeah. So
you get somebody that you don't have to teach everything over to, which is huge.
That helps.
So yeah, I would absolutely be willing to pay him more than another big name, just so I don't have to start all over.
Yeah, and you would even pay him more than whatever his slot is. Because it just makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, if he's down in the 20s, absolutely.
Well, I'm saying if he were to transfer out and go into the open market in college, I'm saying you would pay more than that.
Yeah.
Let's transition a little bit and talk some spring football, and any other football recruiting stuff y'all want to talk about. Martin, you've been at most practices. They've done 9 now, I think. What has stood out to you above everything else?
First thing is the recruiting, because that's what I've been paying attention to. But on the field, Muiz Tunkara has really caught my eye. Transferring in from Florida, wide receiver.
Yes.
I expect to see number 14 get some opportunities this season.
He is number 14 to us until we can figure out how to say his name. But because
So
I have tried and I've butchered it.
his brother,
He
I
looks
believe,
like
is at,
an NFL body, by the way. He
Yeah.
looks legit.
yeah. His brother, I believe, was at Cal now, was at Missouri. We recruited him. He was a defensive end out of high school. And I remember Moise being on some of those visits and was, already a big kid at that time. And yeah, I mean, on the field, he just looks the part. He moves well at his size. Great catch radius, to use some buzzwords. But I expect him to get a lot of opportunities, even with Amari returning and Trent Walker. I think is going to be another great addition. I expect Wigman to have another great year because they've done everything they could to make it better for him. The offensive line looks good. I've said before, when Shadre Hurst signed, I think he's the best individual O lineman since Patrick Paul, in terms of like ability. Patrick Overmeyer, I think, is going to not necessarily put up the numbers that Tanner did because there's more mouths to feed or more guys that can take on the load, where Tanner was asked to do a lot. But I think he's going to be just as exciting to fans.
I gave him a name this week, Patrick Overmiddle, because he has caught so many balls over the middle. And the day that came out, they decided, okay, we're going to put him on the edge and just let him catch balls at the boundary all day. I was like, okay, he can do that too. He's very interesting to me. I think Connor Wigman has had a really good spring. I don't think he would tell you that, but I think they're pretty happy with what they've gotten out of him. Paris Melvin is the person that I keep coming back to. He will make some dynamite plays. I think he's had 2 or 3 interceptions in 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 that I've seen. And then he'll kind of space out and do a freshman thing, and they'll try to get his attention. And Austin Armstrong has been, I don't want to say on him, but has been focused on him through the spring. And it's because they have so many expectations on him. Trent Walker is a unit. You're going to love watching him play. He does everything technically right. He's like what people were telling me Amari was a year ago, and what Amari ended up being. Trent Walker is that now. And if you can get decent O-line play, Mekhi Hughes at running back is a beast. And Rashawn Sanford looks just like he did a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get excited about what you see in spring because, it's spring ball.
Yeah.
But offensively, I think you have to really like where you're at.
Yeah.
Defensively, there's some spots where I don't see it yet. Maybe it will develop. I think defensive line still has a ways to go. I think there's some real good top line talent in the defensive backfield, but I don't know if it's as deep as people maybe think it is. But you've got 5 months to figure that out. You play 5 months from today? Yeah, the 5th. So they'll practice again this week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then next week, Tuesday, Thursday, and spring game on the 18th.
Nice.
Yeah. I think Jalen Mayo is going to be a really good player.
I forgot Jalen Mayo. Jalen Mayo, all that kid does is make plays. They featured, U of H social media featured an interception that he had yesterday. They did not feature, he batted down a ball with his left hand going across his body, I mean like far across his body, and batting it down with the palm of his hand. So, I mean, he extended crazy on this play. And the fact that this kid was 14 months away from being at Virginia Union a D2 school, wasn't, I believe, an All-American at Virginia Union, then was an All-American at SFA last year, and legit looks like he could be in the conversation for an All Big 12 kind of season.
Yeah.
Just shocking how good he is. And followed Marcus Trice.
Y'all don't understand when Ryan says that he's being measured too. He's not a Ryan, you're usually calling me out for being excited for a guy practicing. So if you're talking that positive about guys in practice, it means they're really doing something.
Yeah, it makes me worried.
Yeah.
What am I going soft? What's happening?
Well, the thing is that we had those same thoughts in 2008, spring of 2008, when we saw the first year of Kevin Sumlin.
First year, Dana Holgerson, Blake Joseph. Here he comes. Whoops.
But hey, kid turned out to be a gunner for Sam Houston.
Yeah, and then the other kid played well.
But it was the big standouts were the wide receivers and
the running backs. Yeah. No, it totally looked different. And to Martin's point about recruiting, I'm going to say I have never seen, number one, the number of guys at practices. They're just the sheer number. But also, these guys don't look like the guys looked a year or 2 years ago. Everybody that comes in that's a lineman, that's an offensive lineman. It's 6'5", like size. And even the skill guys, they're all 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". It's not these, Tyrone Carey is probably the most dynamic guy that's ever played here, but he was 5'7", 5'8". Well, these guys, from what I've seen, have speed and talent, but they're doing it at 6'2", not 5'7". So you obviously, you're in a bigger conference now. You've got to have that size, but it's just shocking to see it in person and so much of it.
Yeah.
And the guy, like Martin, Tuesday, you took a picture of Cale Thigpen, and I saw him, kind of across the field, and then I saw your picture of him, and I was like, who is that? That doesn't. And then I saw him at practice yesterday. I'm like, holy shit, that kid is huge. Like, he looked like kind of a little bit of just not imposing, but I mean, he's got some legit size on him. And a good talker. His interview with you the other day, excellent. We'll have him on very soon. I want to get him live and let Brad go to town with him, see how that goes.
I think if a player embodies what this program is turning to and the culture they're trying to build, it's him. I'm not going to necessarily say like he's going to be the best. I think he's going to be a good football player. But I think he's going to define what it is that people remember about the Fritz era as much as any other player. His demeanor, the way he carries himself, the culture that everybody talks about building right now. I think he is one of the guys that is going to be a stamp of that. He might end up being a fan favorite. A lot can happen between now and the end of his career in college, but it's talking to him is different. There's some guys you speak to and it comes off different. When we spoke to Keyshawn towards the end of last year, it comes off different. It feels, I don't know, just the words seem to matter more. Like they're not just talking, they're putting emphasis on what they say, they mean it.
I have never spoken to high school players that sounded like Keyshawn and Kingston. Like they just were in complete different levels than anyone I've ever spoken to. And we've been fortunate to have both on this show. Kingston 3 times, Keyshawn once, be more, but he's a backup. You'll get to him when you get to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Keyshawn and Kingston had just a different level, and you're saying Kale is kind of that same thing.
Yeah, I
I
think
didn't
so.
sit in on your interview, so I don't know. I just saw what I saw, but that's pretty interesting. Do we see no spring portal for football more so helping than hurting? We got Kojal and lost Keontae Scott in last year's spring portal. You won that trade-off. Keontae Scott's a really good player, but Tanner is up there. And yeah, 100%. I think Overmeyer is going to be as good as him, but you won't notice it as much because he will not get the whatever 90 or 100 targets that Kojal got. It's just not happening, which is good because you have a much more diversified offense this year.
Yeah.
And it's going
Hopefully-
to be
Hopefully a lot
you're
more
going to see
time.
more time, but also less quarterback between the tackles, which I think is you can't get through 2 seasons doing that. It's just not going to happen. You can't
Roll the dice.
You can't do it. Yeah, I mean it's a roll of the dice every time he did that, and the fact that Wigman came out clean all year except for whatever happened in the Oklahoma State or whatever game that was. Or he came back in
Tech,
Oklahoma
I think.
State. Yeah, it was Tech. I feel pretty good about it from a U of H perspective. How about the kicker? The one time that you cannot pay attention to kickers is spring practice. No one wants to talk kickers more than I do, but what they do in the spring has no bearing on anything that matters. I was talking to Liam Doherty the other day just because he missed a kick, and I was trying to like razz him for it. And he was like, "No, I didn't miss a kick. I didn't miss a kick. I didn't. Oh, okay, you shanked one, but okay." And he was trying to give me some specifics on, when he misses, what it was, and it was like, okay, that doesn't matter. It's at that point it was March still. I was like, why am I even worried about this? So I wouldn't worry anything about kickers right now. It looks like Yoakum would be the guy kicking off, and I think it's pretty competitive in place kicking between Yoakum, Demas, and the Florida kid Evan Noel. So but at this point last year, I felt the same way, and then Ethan Sanchez comes out and has just a fantastic year. So there you go. Losing Carlos Allen is huge. Yes. The starting quarterback, head coach, and coordinators coming back, huge. Like in huge right now. Yeah. You can tell Fritz works his ass off compared to Dana. Yes. Willie Fritz has no hobbies. Dana had quite a few hobbies.
His hobby is football.
Yeah. It's the only thing he knows. And he's actually done a great job of being in different places and promoting other programs. But yeah, all he wants to do is coach football, talk football.
I just keep, it's always, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop and him to prove to be a fraud, but it hadn't happened, and he keeps doing more.
Well, I mean, for 35 years, he's done this at every single level.
Yeah.
At some point, we have to say, well, maybe that guy does know what he's doing.
I was at
the
casino. I think I jumped in with you guys when I was at the casino.
Stories that start like this.
A couple of weeks ago, and me and Mallory were having dinner, and this guy just comes up to me. I'm wearing a U of H shirt, of course. And he said, that's University of Houston, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, my wife's a professor at Georgia Southern, and y'all are coming to kick our ass in football this year, but we love Coach Fritz. He did an awesome job while he was here, and, man, we just adore him. So I thought that was kind of cool that some random guy from Georgia Southern came up, and he had a lot to say about Coach Fritz and about Houston football and the direction they're going and how they've got the right guy. So.
When you started this story, I had written it already in my head that the guy comes up and says, that's U of H, right? And you're like, yeah. And he said, Start Pizza.
Start Pizza.
But that's not what happened. I was hoping. Jayme, what the hell is going on at UNC? And who's going there?
Yeah, well, your guess is as good as mine. I'd love for it to. Nothing would make me happier if it was Grant McCaslin, but I guess they're going to shoot their shot one more time with Billy Donovan. By the way, it looks like Auburn and Tulsa are heading to overtime. I had already crowned Auburn the NIT champion when they were up by 17 at halftime.
Come on, Tulsa.
Jeez. I know the guy, I can't think of his last name right now, but he's the head coach at Vanderbilt. Seems like maybe that's who it's going to end up being. They just signed him to a Byington or something like that. I think
Byington is it? Yeah.
They just signed him to an extension the other day, but it doesn't seem like that's going to deter him. So I think that's more than likely who ends up getting it if Billy Donovan turns it down. So your guess is as good as mine.
At some point, you have to hire somebody that is better on paper and in action than Hubert Davis was. And they're getting to a point where they better pull a rabbit out of the hat. Like, with Billy Donovan, it sort of feels like Saban to Alabama, like just teasing and toying, but I think Mal Moore had him kind of in the bag the whole time. This thing with Donovan does not feel that same way.
They say if he gets it, that he wants a full team dedicated to recruiting. Like, he doesn't want to have to be the one, getting in there. He wants a GM. He wants a scouting team. He wants it to be as close to NBA as it can be. And if there's one place that'll give it to him, I would say it would be North Carolina. So I think that's what kind of keeps him in the mix for it, for sure.
Clyde would be perfect in this era. I want everybody to do my job. I just want to collect a paycheck and show up on the sideline.
And stand, yeah. As long as I get to stand, I'm
maybe
good.
A chair. I can get a Ron Hunter rolling chair.
Fun guy.
Yeah. Getting another year at Tulane. One other thing I want to touch on basketball-wise is Tommy Lloyd signing a deal with Arizona Friday, and it's a big dollar deal. Seems early to do that, but okay.
You know what? Here's the thing. I looked at it, and it says the deal will average, starts off at 7.2 and will average at 7.5 up until over 6 years or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a big jump from where that's more than double what he's making right now. But for the long term, once you get into 2030, 7 could be a huge bargain. Then again, if it's a huge bargain, that means you're going to renegotiate that anyhow.
Right. And it also could be a huge anchor around your neck, because, I mean, he obviously recruited and had a budget this year, but what if he misses? What if he misses a couple times? I mean, he could be Penny Hardaway all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, I thought he got over his skis a little bit last year with Caleb Love. I think he spent a lot for a guy that was more overrated. He didn't bring as much value. He was still a good player, don't get me wrong. But I mean, Tommy Lloyd's done it for 3 or 4 years now.
I mean, they've had good teams. Yeah. He got a clause in his contract saying that he would not report to the AD. He would report to the school president. They have a new school president who has no history with athletics. This is the part that is the big red flag to me. Like, okay, we're giving you all this money. Allegedly, North Carolina offered tons more. Allegedly. But if we're giving you all this money, why are we giving you a situation where you're not responsible to people in athletics? I think that's just a huge, huge red flag.
Yeah.
Okay. Diop and Randy Bennett have the same agent, is what I heard. That could play against you, but it also could work for you. How do you think the Big 12 QB situation is this year versus last year? Everyone said preseason last year the Big 12 was the best QB conference. I don't have a damn clue. I could bullshit, but I don't know.
They've added some good ones. Maker at Oklahoma State could be really good. DJ Lagway might figure it out, and I mean he was, potentially 1-1 at some point. So if he figures it out, that could be huge.
Yeah.
Connor's likely going to have an even better year than last year. So
I think that's been the going concern is, hey, if DJ could put it together, if he could not suck, he'd be really great.
It's a little more.
If he would stop throwing it at the other team, then he would be pretty damn good.
Yeah, well, hopefully he doesn't figure
that
out
was
for
my
Houston
problem.
fans' sake.
Yeah. Maybe Texas Tech made a very good investment with Cincinnati kid, but do you have a third Cats analyst, former U of H player for football next season? Batten returning. Dean, sorry, can't make it. Yeah. So what we did, we sent Galen to Willie's new theory of football class. And Galen is going to be the analyst for the entire year next year. Galen Robinson doing football for all. No, we're working on that. We've actually been talking through it and who we want. And it's a weird situation because guys that the further they get from the program, the less they pay attention to the minute stuff. But the guys closer to the program are still trying to play professional football somewhere. We've had several good former players, but we're going to keep working for that right dynamic. Maybe get 2 or 3 and have them rotate through the season a little bit. I don't know how that works out, but we really like having a former player, and we will see how it ends up going.
Yeah. It's so, I mean, a lot of these guys that are, just a few years out of football for the first time in their lives, it's like, holy shit, I'm free. And a lot of them do just a full, complete separation from the game. That it's, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to pay attention to it. And then you come back later on.
I believe Houston has the best QB room in the Big 12.
I think it's the only QB room in the Big 12 with 2 5-star quarterbacks.
Yeah, but it's also a very thin room. You have 2 5-stars, but there's only 4 guys. There's only 4 guys in that room right now. And I've never seen a team go into a season with only 4. And your second guy, Keyshawn, never played a snap. Jake Sock, your 4th-string guy, at quarterback, never played a snap. The kid from Syracuse played a tiny bit, but not very much. So behind Connor Wigman, there is a little bit of thin. And yes, you do have the 2 5-stars, but you also just do not have the depth of experience behind him. And that would be something I would be worried about. I think they'll find a body to be on this team next year. There's a kid from Second Baptist that'll graduate in a month. He might be that next guy, just the depth, but we'll see. I had one for you. Is it too early to ask who do you think will be the under the radar player who will start to emerge in the middle of the season? Martin, you have any thoughts on that?
You guys hear me? Things are kind of like freezing, so I just want to make sure I'm not.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Talking and then you guys can't hear what I'm saying. Okay. I mean, we mentioned movies earlier. I think that's one to keep an eye on. But
say three. Harvey Broussard. Harvey Broussard.
I won't recycle that. I'm still number one fan, but I won't recycle that because I think I've talked about him enough as far as being under the radar. But I mean, I know he played last year, but every time I'm at practice, I'm like, who is that? And it's Kobe Young. He looks different this year, like the way he's moving. I mean, who's that in a good way?
Yeah.
Who is that guy drawing the 15-yard penalties?
50 yards down the field. And he's done it 4 or 5 times in practice this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's wearing number 2 this year, so it's different looking. Like, you're asking yourself, who is 2? Go ahead with defense.
Javian White, who the staff was familiar with.
They like him a lot.
Really good player. He'll be playing the nickel star position, and I think he's going to play it really well. I initially got an eye on him because when I was cutting up Patrick Overmeyer stuff, they were matched up a lot. So I got an opportunity to see how Patrick Overmeyer could block a really good player. But Javian's going to be good. I think he's going to help a lot with transition of guys leaving. Jordan Allen's still going to be good, but I think you could see some young guys, maybe like defensive end, get opportunities that we haven't heard much from yet, like Darius Washington. Chance Bryant played a lot last year, but I think he'll see the field, and I think maybe a linebacker like Richmond, Ugochukwu, maybe he gets a shot. He looked the part last year, and he got some opportunities with the ones in spring. And maybe he gets more of a chance again. Before, I don't know if you're going to post it, how his little McCutcheon looked. I'll say it again for the 3rd year in a row. This is going to be the year that Latrevian McCutcheon breaks out. Hopefully this time I'm right.
And if you are, you just hammer that all the time. Your guy, Tunkara, I think could be that breakout guy. But nobody really, if you haven't been at practice, and nobody really gets to go, you don't know. But he could be that breakout guy. There's also another guy who transferred in from Texas Tech. His name is Tyson Turner. And if you're talking about mid-season, like somebody into the season who may not get the opportunity in the first game, but might get an opportunity 3, 4, 5, that could be him. On defense, I think it's Jordan Allen. I thought he was going to be a breakout guy last year. It didn't quite happen, but I've been pretty impressed with him this year. But that would be my guess at this point. But I like that question. I like that question a lot because that's fun to do. Jayme, we hear U of H is good at development, but doesn't seem like so much with the bigs. Reaction?
Hard to say. We've had pretty good bigs. You saw what J1 Roberts was from day one to when he left 6 years later. Being an all-conference. Yeah, Javier Francis. Just the little time that they had Sinak, the little time that they had Jarris. the guys that have given them time to develop, I think they've done really well with.
JoJo Tugler.
Yeah, JoJo. I mean, he was just a raw specimen coming out of high school, but even throughout this year, we saw how much he grew. When he was able to stay on the court, he was able to score more towards the end of the year. Got his shoulder squared up and was dunking on dudes. So, if he gets that last year in the program, I think you'll just see how much he's developed. So yeah, I'm not sure that's completely fair because, I think they do a pretty good job with the bigs.
One thing you got to understand about bigs, it's the most coveted position in basketball. It's the hardest position to recruit. The best teams are going to scoop up the best talent because there's only a few of them. It's hard to find 6'9" to 7 foot guys that are going to be as athletic as you want and as mobile as you want. They cost a lot of money, and that was back in the money in a Whataburger sack days. They cost them. They're the most expensive on the market right now. They're always going to command the biggest dollars because there's so few of them. We're getting to a point now where we can recruit up. We're getting better at the ground level. I mean, guys that we've had to get in the past. I mean, guys we had to get in the past were reaches for big men that turned into quality big men. That was the 6'7" to 6'8" guys, 6'9" guys. We got the most out of them, and we finally were able to play through them, a few of them. I mean, even what's his name sat the bench for 2 years at UConn after playing as a freshman.
One thing, everybody looks at the offense, obviously, but when Ryan and I were in the locker room after the win over Texas A&M, he told me to take a picture because there was nobody else on the planet that had the backpack that JoJo Tugler had. And that backpack was the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year backpack. I mean, talk about development from where he started as a freshman to being the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year is just crazy. So that was
that was
cool.
Such an ultimate flex that it's just an embroidered Naismith Defensive Player of the Year on his backpack. Like, okay, all right, I don't have that.
Yep.
It'll be fun to see the way it evolves going forward. Even NBA teams are trying to find bigs. Absolutely. I mean, they are hard to find, man. And a lot of them, you got to take on projects, and that's what Javier Francis was. And I think Ryan was told directly that as a freshman, he said, "This guy's not going to be good. We're not recruiting him today. We're recruiting for what he's going to be in 3 years." And you remember him last year. He stepped up big for us.
And you had to recruit that way at that time, but it also really helped your program because those guys came in and got their asses kicked and watched and were white team guys and developed. And you're not in that era now where you're in a microwave era and you've got to come in that first year and be a part of what we're doing or we have to move on from you.
Well, and we're also recruiting guys who actually have that ability. They're more finished products. Right. They're not as big a reach.
Absolutely recruiting over you every year now. So you are there. Brad, you mentioned a bit ago about guys that once they get out of football, they want to go and be as far away from football as possible. Is that what you did when you stopped playing baseball?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Once I was done, I went to a Rangers game because at that time the ballpark in Arlington was still fairly new. I think it might have been open that summer, but I went to one or two of those games. Yeah. I went to 1 or 2 of those games, but outside of that, I didn't watch baseball for like 3 or 4 years. Had no desire in it. I barely watched any college sports either. I mean, I was just had no desire to do it because, I mean, that was as from the time I was 8 years old. I mean, it was all spring, all summer, and then once I got into junior high, all of a sudden, or high school is when fall ball started. So it was fall baseball, then basketball, then right into baseball, and then baseball all summer until August. So I had about a month off in September before we got it going again. But it was like that my entire life. And then once you got into college, it was fall baseball, summer, spring. Probably played average at least 100 games a year for 10 years of my life. It's like, I'm done.
That feels low.
At least. Is at least. Especially once you got into college, because it was a 25, 30 game fall schedule, usually double headers every week, and then 56 games in the spring, and then another 30 to 60 in the summer, depending on how many summer leagues you played in. And people wonder why are Tommy John surgeries so frequent now? That's why.
We're just jumping from sport to sport, so hang out. Do we have an emerging starting 5 for the offensive line? Yes, you do. So going left to right, Alvin Abiselli will be at left tackle. Shadre Hurst, who you're gonna like this guy from Tulane, is at left guard. Anthony Boswell at center, Mackenzie Agnello at right guard, and Drew Terrell at right tackle. That has been the 5 from day one. And I was watching yesterday just to make sure that nothing had changed, and it's still those 5 guys right now. So I think that's who they want to go with. And unless somebody just completely steps up, and a lot of guys are getting reps. Willie is a big fan of if we can go 4 deep, we're going to go 4 teams deep. And you're not quite there at quarterback, but you are pretty much every other position except offensive line. You pretty much know your first and second team guys. But those are your starting 5 if you started right now. What do we think of the executive order? No matter who the president is, it doesn't matter. It's not an executive function. It has no standing. The NCAA, the conferences are trying to build it up because they want real legislation, which is the only thing that's going to matter. But it's never going to happen this year because it's an election year. Nobody's going to do that. So I don't think it matters at all.
It gets the people talking.
It does get people talking.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Who wins tomorrow night in the national title game? Brad?
I would say probably Michigan by 20.
Okay, he's wrong. Jayme?
I would also say Michigan.
And he's wrong. Martin?
UConn, I think.
There you go, Martin. Woo! Martin is the leader and the winner. I just can't bring myself to thinking that Michigan's gonna be it. But man, they are just so good.
Spent the last 26 years with this no Big Ten winning the championship streak, and I'm sad that I'm going to have to give it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, if there's one coach that was going to break this and derail this team, it'd probably be Hurley, because he just hates everything so much.
Yeah.
And I really think he'll do a DX suck it at midcourt if he won.
Could quit. Could just tap out.
He'd just be walking to the podium like Vince McMahon walking down the ramp at WrestleMania.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, I'm not even going to watch the game tomorrow night. I'm going. I think I'm going to go to Monday Night Raw.
Oh,
And,
have you ever been?
yeah, many times. And I'm going to go to Toyota Center and just be upset that we're not there, but that's okay too. But yeah, I'm going to go with Michigan because of our two UAB connections with Yaxel, and then Dusty May was actually on the
Dusty
staff. the
May
year
was
that
on staff when you were there. Yeah.
No, he was there the year after I left.
Oh,
He was there for
okay.
5 years after I left. So I'm going to go with the UAB boys.
That's probably the way to go, but I'm going to tell you, I went and watched, there was a segment on 60 Minutes maybe 2 years ago with Danny Hurley, and the way his wife roasted him,
Yes.
I was just like, you know what? I'm all in on Danny. I could do this. That's fine. But she just basically said he has no function at all. If he couldn't coach basketball, he would be useless, is what she said. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good.
True.
I always assumed that he was a psycho because of his dad. But I really, after seeing his mom celebrate in the bleachers, I think he might be a psycho because of her.
Both. It feeds off each other.
His dad, I'm almost certain this was right. They said he won 28 state titles.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even happen? But I mean, Martin, is Demarion Thomas the likely heir to Carlos Allen's position?
I mean, in terms of playing the position, I think so. In terms of production, we've got to see it. Carlos Allen is,
Did a
for
lot of
stature
damage.
and what he put, he's pretty special for going from Kennesaw State to Houston, and I think he's going to get an opportunity in the NFL. Demarion Thomas has the fire hydrant build that you want for that position, so I think that makes sense. They probably recruited him with that in mind. So yeah, I would expect to see him playing Carlos Allen's role.
What are the chances we see more than one of our guys drafted in the NFL this year?
Like this coming draft?
I would assume, yeah. Well, I mean, I think he means after the 26th season.
Then 100%.
Well, I mean, if you could, okay, what about this upcoming draft?
Tanner for sure.
Yeah.
And then Latrell probably gets drafted. So again, I would think,
Latrell
we get multiple
late,
drafts.
I would think. I think
Yeah.
you could do that, yeah.
And
I think those are the two.
Depending, on how teams feel about Carlos, he could be a late 7th UDFA kind of opportunity guy. But
Yeah.
I think it's more likely the latter. But I think multiple guys will get drafted, and especially next year.
Something I didn't know until the conversation I had a couple weeks ago is that teams are already contacting players. Like, we don't think you're going to be drafted, but we're really interested in signing you as an undrafted free agent. And
Yeah.
we're going to bring you in and, kind of wine and dine you so that, when that does come, we can be the first one to get the chance. So that I just never something I ever thought about. But is this Deion's last year at Colorado if they're bad again? I don't think anybody has the power to fire him. It's like Tommy Lloyd reporting to the president. There's just there's no balance in you or my subordinate. It just isn't going to work. I think he was like the main guy to bring in Fernando Lovo from New Mexico. Like, Deion was basically 50% of the search committee. So I just can't see that happening. And I mean, anybody that came in, it's a brand new AD, been there a month or 2 months. You can't come in saying, oh, we're going to have to look at Deion when he's basically the one hiring you. So, Brad, would you like to speak about Cody Campbell?
He's annoying me in the most
Why?
brutal way. He won't shut the fuck up. You know, he supposedly, I mean, I know he's doing great things for Texas Tech, and he's the greatest billionaire ever. God damn, what a mouthy little bitch. You know, first it's his thing that he wants to get pushed through Congress. And now he's bitching and complaining because they have to play on Friday night. All of a sudden, you know, teams have been playing on Friday nights for what, 25 years, 30 years. Oregon built their program on Friday nights. But all of a sudden
Thursday night, but yeah.
But all of a sudden Cody just finally realizes, holy shit, we're having to play on Friday night. They just started doing this. Oh no, football's sacred now. Football's sacred in Texas on Friday nights. Well, maybe out in your little shithole, maybe they are, but guess what? They play on Friday nights. They play on Thursday nights. They play on Saturday nights, Saturday afternoons. Do it all over the place. It's not new. Shut up. It's part of the deal. And then he bitches and complains that Brett Yormark works for the presidents and the regents. Well, guess what, dickhead? Those fucking idiots signed off on it. So you got a problem with your president, and you're on the board of regents, so it's your fucking problem. Maybe read what you sign. So
I really felt like I was going to have to carry this conversation, but I think that was okay. This still has not even been announced that it's moving to Friday night. We talked about at the time when the schedule came out, I told you that right there looks like a Friday night game to me. The Big 12 has had that window on week 3 on Friday nights for a couple years. Makes all the sense in the world. That game looked perfect right there. And sure enough, it's what it is. So if nobody like me could see that in January, surely somebody with the connections and money of Cody Campbell could have seen that in January. But apparently, word just trickled down to Tech that this was a possibility, a probability, or it's going to happen. And now he's getting, it's too late. This is not the time to, start making this call. Mm-hmm. When the schedule is built, they're building it for, okay, this is our number one TV game. We've got to have that in this week. And that week we've got, 2 or 3 options here for our biggest game. And those games are going to be on ESPN Plus or TNT. Everybody knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. And if we can figure it out, certainly the guys that are in charge over at Texas Tech, who apparently own this conference now with their one conference title in 75 years, which is great. Go lead the conference. Go do that. But you've also got to play by the rules that everybody else has. U of H has played, I believe, 4 conference games in 3 years on Friday nights. You went to Arizona 2 years ago. I think West Virginia was on a Thursday night. Yeah. You had Colorado here on a Friday night. You went to UCF on a Friday night. Mm-hmm. And you played at TCU 2 years ago on a Friday night. If TCU and Houston can play on a Friday night, why can't U of H and Tech do the same thing? They're both in the state of Texas.
We got the conference got really good money. They actually got a raise. The conference got more money than they had when UT and OU were here. And a part of that is guess what? You're going to have to play at they're going to have to play you at some times that you don't want to play. Yeah. Okay. And so Friday night it is. Thursday night it is. Whatever they deem necessary.
You signed a contract when you were dying as a conference, and You brought in the 4 schools, the 3 AAC schools and BYU, and you jumped ahead of the ACC and the Pac-12 and got the best deal. And the Pac-12 died and is being resurrected as a G5, and the AACC is probably the next to go.
You know, I know.
And you're strong. And the reason is because you agreed to play these Friday night games.
Mm-hmm.
And that you have this elite basketball conference that you have. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, I know they all of a sudden think that, they've got leverage. They can go wherever they want. No, the SEC doesn't want you. The Big 12 doesn't
Good
want
luck.
you. Guess what? I mean, the Big 10 doesn't want you. The Pac-12 didn't. The Pac-12 would rather Kurt Cobain themselves than bring you in. I mean, they literally painted the ceiling instead of letting Tech play. That's how little you matter. Don't forget that. Doesn't matter how much Cody's paying. You got no options.
Players. He's not paying anybody in the conference.
I mean, at the end of the day, nobody in the country cares. Nobody cares about Texas Tech.
No.
I mean, it's sad to say, more people nationally care about Utah than they care about Texas Tech.
We'll get to Utah later in the summer. I think there's some opportunities to talk there. Swear jar for Towns. Towns got to chill.
All I heard him say was that the guy's name was Cody Campbell Vitch.
Yeah, Vitch. Always a Vitch.
It's a lot of sugar today.
Yeah.
I hadn't had sugar in like 2 months, and I had some today.
Was it Star Pizza cupcakes?
No, it was Cadbury eggs.
Cadbury Bunny. Yeah.
I saw them on sale at no, not Bunny, the Cadbury eggs. They were on sale at CVS.
Boy. That's sad. Grim. So I had something I never had today. HEB has these, they sell in a bakery, these little round, what are you laughing at? These little round brownies.
There's a lot of ways we can go with that.
Star pizza. But the little flat round brownies I'd never had before. Oh my goodness.
Flat
Those
round
are coming back. Just little brown. They're in a, I don't know. I can't explain it. They were damn good. I got to see 13 kids do Easter egg hunts, 2 different Easter egg hunts. I'm good now. I'm full up. I've had enough. You know they put cash in Easter eggs now?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. The second one I went to had $20 bills in some of them. $20 bills.
I'd be out there knocking them over. I'd be punting kids across the yard.
Oh, you've got little girls and slow little boys just getting blown up by towns, just trucking them for $20 bills.
They sound like the old the red balls that you had in PE that you use for dodgeball and kickball. Boing!
Talking about $20 bills and Easter eggs, I thought y'all were going to go straight to the Ritz promo.
Oh yeah. You know what? Eject. I assume you didn't do this, but Cody, it's talking sports, but what we should focus on is Brad Out of Bounds, sponsored by the Ritz. Brad, the Cody Campbell was Brad really out of bounds.
Yeah.
Literally LOL at that Kurt Cobain comment. That is horrible. Horrible. Yelling Towns is my favorite Towns.
True.
Yeah. Don't forget, make sure it's on your calendar, the 23rd, Puddin Wrestling Ultimate Puddin' Wrestling, the 22nd annual Thrilla in Vanilla. Drink, food, specials, and much more. We are
Vanilla,
efforting.
butterscotch, banana.
There's no butterscotch. There's no.
Nanner pudding is the best pudding. Butterscotch is up there.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, look, I
The
think
only way to do pudding, no, you're wrong. And I'm going to teach you. I'm going to school you right here. The only way to do pudding is you got to get the cook and serve pudding that you do on the stovetop. You put milk in it and you stir it up. It's heating and then you eat it hot. It's the only way to do it. I'm telling you, if you do this, it will change your life.
I'm not going to eat it hot. No, because the best part of the pudding,
so good.
the best part of the pudding is after it's cooled, is the pudding skin on top of the bowl.
No.
Whatever you pulled out of the refrigerator.
Wrong.
Yes.
Wrong. No. Try the cook and serve on the stove with the milk. I'm telling you, it just hits differently when it's warm.
I'm not eating hot pudding.
Okay. How about this? If they wrestled in hot pudding,
I would use.
Would that interest you?
It's like Martin Landau on Entourage.
Okay. All right.
Would that be something that you're interested in?
Oh, the season is over, and I'm still unsure if the Ritz is actually. I promise they're a sponsor. They pay good money, American money, and we appreciate it. I wonder if they're actually a real sponsor. That is, I really, when we started this, I wanted to start pitching ads for like Mervin's and Montgomery Ward's, Oshman's, Circuit City, just for companies that don't exist. But then we actually got, I think they may still have, Montgomery Ward still has a website.
Really?
But we got actual sponsors, so we can't do fake sponsors. But if we could, it would be the Ultimate Pudding Wrestling Federation.
Miller's Outpost.
Wow, that's Chess King.
Oak Tree and Chess King, right across the street, right across from each other. They were virtually the same.
We never had that. Yeah, we never had that.
Virtually the same.
Had the Oak Tree. We had the Chess King, but we didn't have the Oak Tree. Yeah.
Oak Tree had more genera. Y'all old folks know what I'm talking about.
Put that hand right there on that genera, changing colors, hyper colors. And I had my Z Cavarici pants.
Oh yeah.
But I had this brown pair. I'll show y'all sometime, but not tonight. That had 2 belt loops. Did you ever see the 2 belt loop pair of pants? You had to have 2 belts. You couldn't just have them, beltless.
No, I didn't have those, but I had like a 7-foot long belt for my Z Cavarici so I could loop it and.
Well, yeah, you had to loop it and press it down, right?
Yeah. Yeah, to go with my Zodiac shoes. I had some Paisley Zodiacs that I rocked with those. Did the tight roll in the ankles.
I don't know that one.
They were basically like deck shoes, but had all kinds of designs. They were the fancier version of Sperry's. All the preppy kids wore the Sperry's.
Yeah.
The cool mofos like me.
Like him.
Wore the Z Cavaricis with some rayon shirts, some Zodiacs.
Mm-hmm. Ones, 10s, and 20s.
Yeah. In the Easter eggs.
Ari Gold's comment to Bob Ryan would always crack me up. Yeah. Does Nate Oates deserve to be a top 5 paid coach? Jayme?
He's probably getting up there. I mean, I think he's a complete and utter scumbag, but yeah, I mean, he wins games, and I don't know about top 5. That is kind of questionable. I'd say top 10 though, for sure.
If you're doing a draft right now, right? You got Hurley.
Yeah.
You might have Dusty May. You have John Shire. You have Kelvin Sampson. You have Tommy Lloyd. You had Bill Self. You have Todd Golden.
Mark Few.
You have Rick Pitino. You have Mark Few. I mean,
John
Few
Calipari.
not going to be up there because of where he is in the league he's in.
Well,
John
here's-
Calipari.
Take the names
I don't know
off.
if he's a top 5, but
Take all the names off, and you say you've got Sweet 16, round of 64, Sweet 16, Final Four, Elite 8, and Sweet 16. So
that's okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's top 15 coach.
who else is doing
Top
that?
10.
Regardless of what you think of him, I mean,
Right.
that's-
Yeah.
and you're doing it at a place that doesn't give a shit about basketball. Even after you've done all this, they don't give a shit about basketball. I mean,
Agreed.
they'll wake up in March and say, "Why ain't we playing like them other schools?"
I think
But now
they
that- now that
care
Auburn-
about
now that
basketball,
Auburn-
but once basketball ends, they do, okay, fine, whatever.
I just don't think they don't care about it until the new year starts. By and
Well,
large.
that's true with everybody.
They only care about it if Auburn is good. If Auburn sucks, then they don't care about anything. Then they go back and climb their pole called a family tree.
Martin, do you have any more recruiting tidbits or spring football wisdom?
I saw the comment about Braden being pursued by Texas Tech. That is just going to be a part of the game if this is how this team is going to recruit going forward. And obviously, it is. They're going to continue to go after good players. I mentioned to our guys at Four Quarters that Braden Cook would be a 4-star soon, and I think he has a 5-star talent. It would just be a matter of how recruiting service decide to grade kids when it all comes to it at the end. But, when I was with him at the Rivals camp and watched him win the MVP, I told him, I know you're committed to U of H, but this is not done. It's just getting started. You're going to have these schools coming after you. And he mentioned schools like Texas had already been in contact. So this isn't a brand new development. They can come in the game late because of the resources they have. So this isn't surprising.
Right.
But he also mentioned to me he's not just going to go jump to a brand or, he's not in it for the money. U of H has done a great job cultivating relationships with these guys. And I think, they're going to have money to provide these kids that will be market value, which of course it could mean anything. But their superpower, like I mentioned with Braden, is their relationship building. Every kid I talk to, it's not just, I love the coaches, they're nice. It's Coach Ross messages me every other day. He calls me on the phone. I hear from Coach Fritz, which is Wes, but everybody's a coach in the football world, very often. Coach Brian Bell is probably working harder than anybody, doing a great job of building these relationships. And they're doing everything they're supposed to with the kind of school they are. And I think fans should be excited that Texas and Tech and probably Miami soon for a guy like Braden Cook just throwing a school out there, they're going to be coming after these kids because they're that good of players.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time when Texas never looked at your players.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
I mean, you could have that, or you could have, you need to go beat schools like Texas for these guys. Maybe they're not number one on UT's radar, but they're up there.
Right.
I think you see less of that last minute switch with Texas comes in the right before that last recruiting weekend.
Right.
You saw that a lot for 15 years when Texas would miss on somebody and they'd go grab somebody else. And you're not seeing kids switch like that because they have been, this recruiting world is so different than it was 10 or 20 years ago. Even when you had rivals in scout,
Sure.
there's those, and then there's On3, and then there's the independent sites like ours, and then there's 50 guys or 100 guys on Twitter trying to make a name independently just on social media doing this stuff. So they're getting attacked from so many different angles, and then all these schools and the agents and the money guys. And when you offer them something authentic, like a relationship, that is different. And that's what they're noticing. And U of H comes in and says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build this relationship with you. And we're going to be here every day. And schools are going to come in. And you've got to go to UT. If they say come for a visit, you've got to go.
Sure.
And now with the money, Tech, if they call, you've got to go. But U of H is winning their share of these battles because of the relationships. And, you know, Brian Bell is the guy that is unbelievable to me, that he has come in and hit the ground so hard as a on-staff position coach and recruiter. And, you know, Wes Fritz does a really good job of bringing these guys together and finding these talents. And then the coaches have to go and, you know, kind of close the deal. And Brian is doing as good a job as I've ever seen of somebody in their first 6 months.
Yeah, a couple notes just on how the recruiting is going. It's a big deal, starting with Keyshawn, for example. He had always been essentially in the boat with Houston, and his recruiting grade continued to grow, which he deserved because of his play. But it's not that simple with recruiting services. It doesn't mean because you play well you're going to get this ranking. So it validates, in my personal opinion, with how things go, Willie Fritz and his staff, that the recruiting services are giving the players these grades and they're still going to Houston. Seeing Braden go from no grade, no profile on 24/7 to a 3-star to a 4-star in a matter of a couple of weeks because of his performances, another big deal, that he's still committed to Houston. So those are kinds of things as a fan that you can look for, that obviously they're winning games. That's fun to see, but the recruiting services are validating what they're doing on that side, and little things like that if you pay attention to it. And I think what's about to happen with the roster construction, this is something that I was talking with Kel Thickman about when we sat down. They're getting to the point where even your 4-stars and high 3-stars are already going to start to get over recruited in a good way. Like there's going to be competition within these rooms where, you know, I mean, Keyshawn just committed. Braden Baker is a very good quarterback, and he's going in knowing Keyshawn is there. Connor Wigman was there when Keyshawn committed. Like that one position group is a good example of there's going to be competition within these rooms. There's going to be good depth in all of these rooms. I mean, Makai Hughes came in. Rayshawn Sanford's a good player. Wide receiver is loaded. It's a very good sign that they're still able to get these kids to come play for them. And I think this is the start of depth, and, you know, you're going to see several 4-stars in a room competing to get playing time and waiting their turn because of how I think these guys are cultivating this culture and keeping these guys home to take their turn at the position year 2, year 3 of being in the program. And I think that's a very good sign for where things are.
Yeah, you've got to over-recruit everybody. And like the quarterback room, you have to have a guy every year. You just have to have that next rung on the development ladder, and it's got to happen every single year. And if you're a quarterback and you're afraid of that, probably not the guy. Like, I understand not wanting to be a quarterback in a class with another quarterback. I get that. But if you're worried about a guy younger than you and maybe not as talented as you, or you're worried he's more talented. That's a problem. But, Kelvin talks all the time about, I want to see kids compete. I want competitors. And that's what you got to look for. And you're building it in that way. And there are so many similarities between that basketball program, what it was, and what this football program is right now. That's pretty interesting. I wonder how they feel where they're at with Alvin Mosley. I believe Mosley comes in Friday. Will be here, I believe, for practice Saturday. I think they're in a better spot than you believe they're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if they get him, but they're in competition with UT. I believe it's UT and Ole Miss for this kid.
Yeah.
There's a reason Houston is there. And it's, 5 years ago, Brad, we would see guys that had an elite list, and then Houston would be like a thrown on. And it was a courtesy to an assistant coach. Okay, that guy's, he's talked to me a lot. I'm going to throw them in, give them a little on the back end. That's not what this is anymore.
No.
U of H is in the conversation for these guys. And it's still difficult for me to process that as I'm sitting here looking at these guys. Having Marcus Jones and Tank Dell on the sideline yesterday was a pretty good little recruiting tool. Kids were coming up and saying hi and, oh, hey, oh, you're Tank Dell. Okay, cool. But that was pretty good. But they're just in a different spot. What do you think about Mosley?
Yeah, should be having something coming out soon. We should be sitting on top of them later this week if everything goes well. But they're kind of mentioned this to you, Ryan, talking about the guys that have been on campus. It's, I don't have like a percentage, but if they have a kid with an official visit established, which Alvin Mosley does for the end of May, and they've been on campus regularly, things are going in the right direction with their recruiting. Braylon Lane, for example, we saw him at several practices leading up to his commitment. He has an official visit set. So they're in the same boat there. I've seen Alvin Mosley several times at practices. I saw him at the Rivals camp, and he talks about Houston. He did just visit Ole Miss on an unofficial visit recently, but he's willing to talk about Houston, and it's being on campus is a big deal. I think they're in a good spot. I'm not willing to say they'll sign him because you have no idea what's going to happen or that he'll commit, but they're in as good a spot as you would like to be, considering the type of talent he is.
I think that's fair. I think if you just keep building that relationship, and what you said is correct, that if you're getting them on campus and you're getting them scheduled for an official visit, typically after that second or third visit, unofficial, and that OV is when you get that commitment, at least this year. And they've all been Houston kids. So they're kids that can be at numerous practices. And you're going to see some Louisiana kids soon because those guys are just starting to get to practice. They're just getting in this motion. And you saw them this weekend, last weekend at practice. And these next 2 weeks, I think, will be pretty big for U of H as well. Okay, let's wrap this up. We're at 2:15, and I think that's enough for an April Sunday night. Jayme, why don't you give us your final thoughts and anything you didn't share on Portal Guys?
Yeah, a couple of things that I forgot to share. Scott Drew is another name that's jumping up that list in North Carolina.
Do you think there's any chance?
I do. It did not go well this past year. I know he has a long lifeline at Baylor, but I could see it being a possibility. He may be ready for a fresh start I mean, who knows who they have coming back this year? They had nobody come back from last year's team, so it could be another rebuild at Baylor. And we saw what they did when they had to completely rebuild the team after a year. So wasn't their
and
best.
You've got a new AD now.
Yeah.
That you're having to deal with.
Right.
But do you think UNC fans would accept him?
No.
I don't know. I mean, they're getting pretty far. We saw the list with Tony Padilla being on the list now since they're not getting anybody else that they want. So
Or Padilla.
Who knows? Recruiting, Brad is smitten over a guy that I've heard we are mentioned with a little bit, Jameer Jones from Providence. He's one of those guys that we talked about earlier. He's a get downhill guy, get to the paint, shoot a ton of free throws, super athletic, can shoot the three, but he'd rather get in the paint. Brad, what have you seen on him that you like?
Well, we're going to do probably a midweek special to go over in depth. But that guy is a rim rattling dude. He absolutely flies to the paint. The way I see it, and it's probably different than what the coaching staff has. There's a lot of dudes who could just post or who could just stand out at the three and knock down open threes. Not as many dudes that are going to get to the rack and do it consistently and then get to the line, make things happen, playmakers. This is one of those dudes. I like him a lot. I'm mad that I looked at the film on him because that's a guy that probably one of my number ones besides Diop. I think he fits a big need for this team. Especially when you think you've got Mercy Miller, you've got McCarty, you've got Bryce Jackson, Alozie coming in. Got one more.
Deanna.
No, guard.
Cordell Jefferson.
Oh.
Cordell, yes.
Yeah.
I think this guy kind of slides right in there in between all of those guys. And they all bring a different thing to the table. But it's a big time slasher. It's what I thought Tremont Mark would turn into.
Yep.
So I like him a lot.
So as far as just
Oh
no, my bad. Just
keep going. Keep going.
No, my last thoughts. We'll put a bow on the season tomorrow, and then it gets real for us. Starting Tuesday, guys can technically commit on Tuesday if they wanted to. So, we talked about that behind the scenes stuff. It's probably been going on. You're allowed to commit on Tuesday. I think the 10th, you're allowed to come in for visits. So that'll be something we'll keep an eye on. And get
they're
ready for
able
26,
to
27.
sign Tuesday. I mean, they could sign technically, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's it.
Martin.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm glad we were able to get Braden on.
Yeah.
Hope everybody enjoyed that. Hopefully we can do more of that kind of stuff in the future. Ryan, we talked about doing more of the spotlights for whether it's a commit or somebody that they're interested, somebody we've seen on campus. We want to do more of that, especially if that's what people want to read. But either way, I want to do it because I enjoy doing it. But so some more of that kind of stuff should be coming down the pipeline. We'll be trying to keep you guys updated on who's at practice and how that kind of stuff is going. Hopefully you guys like the graphics Ryan has been putting out. But
they'll get better.
I mean, I like them, but yeah, we're still figuring it out. But I think recruiting is definitely going in the right direction. So I think fans are going to continue to be excited, and we'll try to keep up with it content-wise. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter. just to get a little personal, I did have a family member. My grandmother passed this Thursday. So hopefully everybody got to spend time with their family and made the most of it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed, what we did for you today.
Sorry to hear about that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
My condolences.
Thank you.
Bradley?
Section 12X, 1 year. This thing was formulated, put together, and brought to you in a year, bringing you some of the best gear U of H has ever seen. You've seen a couple of pretenders come in and try to compete. They're not U of H guys. They're just giving you, they're giving you just generic shit. These are custom, built for U of H fans. It means something by U of H fans. Gear 1 at checkout. Type that in, YEAR, 1 the number, for 10% off. Now, understand, the blue merch has to go on pause on the 10th, 4/10. It's a blue thing. It's just kind of rules, merchandising rules. So it's got to go on pause on that. Also, we're restocking XL through 5X now. Those things going to ship a little bit later because they're not in yet, but big boys, rise up. Get ready. Your stuff's going to ship out later on. Small through large ships immediately. But go support Section 12X. They take care of you. They take care of us.
Big
Also,
boys rise up.
Also, Recruiting Plus at U of H.
Mm-hmm.
Martin's the guy. He's putting in the work. Subscribe to user Recruiting Plus. There's going to be a bunch of cool shit. Really good information, good features, a lot of content coming this summer. Martin's going to be a big part of what we do all summer long. He's going to be here to answer all your questions, give you all the insight on what's going on in the recruiting world, give you another look at a lot of these different recruits, and giving you a look from what people see from the inside of the program. So make sure you subscribe to that too.
Yeah. The spotlights Martin started this week. They're smaller articles. They've got a little film study in them. They got a little interview in them. No one's doing this. And we tried doing these really long, big, thick articles, and those are great, but quick hitters may be what we focus on this summer and see if that gets the ball rolling a little better. There's a lot of guys. It's hard to do real super in-depth stuff for 100 guys on a board, but we can do smaller things and really get the good content out there. So I am all in on recruiting now. It's been a journey for me to get there, but I'm there. And speaking of journeys, this is what Brad wanted to put as the background for your portal talk. And thankfully, this did not happen today because what a journey that would be. Yeah.
It is badass.
All right. Well, you go enjoy wrestling tomorrow, Jayme, before you tell me what's badass. Wrestling.
You guys keep an eye out. It will hit you in the socials. We will probably be having a midweek madness. Talk a lot more detail on Portal exclusive.
This is the first I'm hearing about this, so y'all enjoy. Here you go, Jayme. My sister bought me for Easter a wrestling blanket.
Yeah,
that's Sergeant Slaughter.
Sarge.
Ricky Steamboat and Hogan and Macho Man are at the bottom. I have
Nice.
this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Thank you, Jayme. This is the ugliest thing, my sister Jayme, not you, Jayme. The ugliest thing I've ever seen, but I appreciate it, sister. Thank you so much. Thank y'all for watching Star Pizza.
That is one hell of a present.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that was Arnold Schwarzenegger or Hogan or Macho Man. Maybe Macho Man is what he was trying to do there.
It's Mr. Puffo to you.
Thank you so much.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F- it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.